Let's just dive right into this explainer, guys, because we need to confront a silent tragedy that's literally unfolding all around us. Think about it for a second. How often do you get home from work and realize you don't even remember the drive? Or, you spend 45 minutes mindlessly scrolling through Netflix just to pick a movie you instantly fall asleep to, right? It happens to all of us. But that is the tragedy of living on autopilot. We're just surviving instead of truly living. You see people every single day with distracted minds, hearts completely weighed down by regrets they haven't even earned yet. And the source material we're unpacking today? Well, it's not just some gentle reminder. It's a massive psychological wake-up call designed to literally shake you awake. So we have to ask, are you truly living or just existing? What's so wild about this question is that most of us are just asleep at the wheel. We're awake, sure, but we're waiting. We're waiting for the perfect time, waiting for motivation to strike, waiting for some invisible authority to just tap us on the shoulder and grant us permission to actually start living. We kind of drift through our days treating tomorrow like it's an absolute guarantee, when the hard truth is tomorrow doesn't belong to anyone.
I want you to focus on this number for a moment, just the number 5. And I want you to ask yourself a deeply uncomfortable question. If you knew, like with absolute certainty, that you had exactly 5 years left to live, what would change? What kind of toxic situations would you just immediately stop tolerating? What massive dreams would you stop delaying right this second? The thing is, we shouldn't need a near-death experience to wake up. We really just need a heavy dose of honesty about the fact that the clock is always ticking.
And that brings us to our first major concept, the currency of time. We really need to learn how to spend it wisely, because how we view our time basically dictates exactly how we spend our lives. Now look at this contrast, spare change versus priceless currency. We would never just casually throw physical dollar bills into a trash can, right? Yet people routinely toss their priceless time away on endless scrolling, meaningless gossip, and jobs they absolutely hate. We act like we've got an infinite supply of time sitting in our back pockets. But the stark reality is that every single second is a permanent withdrawal from the bank of your life. Think about it. You can always earn more money, you can always rebuild a career from scratch, but you can never, ever create more time.
Moving on to section 2, let's talk about the silent thieves. These are our daily distractions, and we need to talk about them, because the things actually stealing your life, they almost never look like real enemies.
Just look at these traps the author identifies: doom scrolling, meaningless conversations, endless notifications, people-pleasing, and fearing judgment. These things don't show up at your front door wearing a villain mask, right? Instead, they disguise themselves in the glowing screen of your phone as harmless entertainment, or maybe as necessary social obligations. Oh, just a few minutes on a screen quickly morphs into hours. Those hours bleed into days, and those days silently steal the actual story of your life. We're literally handing over pieces of our existence to things that will never love us back.
So the absolute crucial point here is that focus is your superpower. You've got to build a protective shield around your attention. Guarding your focus is exactly how you defeat those silent thieves. Let's be real, deep focus has become incredibly rare in our noisy, notification-driven world. So taking it back, that is the ultimate way to reclaim your destiny. The people who accomplish extraordinary things, they aren't necessarily the smartest in the room, and they certainly aren't just the busiest. They're simply the most fiercely focused.
Which naturally leads us to section 3, the illusion of later. We absolutely have to realize that tomorrow isn't promised, no matter how comfortable the little bubbles we build for ourselves might feel. Check out this dynamic, comfort versus progress. Comfort feels incredibly safe and warm in the short term, doesn't it? But here's the catch. If left unchecked, it ultimately turns into a lifelong prison of regret. Progress, on the flip side, demands some terrifying discomfort. It asks you to look failure and uncertainty right in the eye. But progress equals true freedom. It's the only real path forward, because nothing extraordinary ever grows where comfort reigns supreme.
So whose opinion is holding you back? Really ask yourself that hard question right now. Think about the last time you didn't post something or you didn't start that side hustle just because you were completely terrified of what a casual acquaintance from high school might think. Living in fear of judgment is literally giving other people silent permission to write the story of your life, and the text makes such a brilliant point here. People are going to judge you no matter what you do, so why not be judged while building a life you actually love? The people you're so afraid of disappointing today, they aren't going to be there to carry the pain of your unlived dreams tomorrow.
All right, let's jump to section 4, purpose over pleasure. It's time to figure out your why and make the massive mindset shift required to actually change your trajectory. Think about the difference between pleasure and purpose. Pleasure is kind of like a firework. It's a spectacular, instantaneous high that gives you that quick hit of gratification, but it always leaves a hollow ache in the dark the second it fades. Purpose, though? Purpose is like a deep-rooted tree. It gives your life genuine weight. It takes ordinary, incredibly difficult days and turns them into a meaningful legacy. When you live for purpose, you're transforming your struggles into lessons and your pain into actual, tangible power that sustains you. And to build that kind of purpose, we arrive at Section 5. Discipline equals true freedom. This requires you to master your own mind and basically completely rethink what you've been taught. Look at this definition. Discipline is the foundation upon which true freedom is built. This reframe is a total game changer. Most people look at discipline like it's a restriction, right? Like it's some sort of punishment that limits spontaneity and sucks all the joy out of life. But the author argues the exact opposite. Discipline is the very mechanism that hands you back the steering wheel. It's what protects you from the absolute chaos of impulse. It means you are no longer a slave to your shifting moods or to temporary, fleeting distractions. It's a choice between pain versus regret. The pain of discipline is like pushing a heavy boulder up a sunlit hill. Yes, it's exhausting. Yes, it's a massive struggle, but you're moving forward in the light. The pain of regret, though, that's being chained beneath that exact same rock in the dark, just totally helpless as it crushes you. The text reminds us that life is going to feature pain no matter what path you choose. But the pain of failure and change, that's entirely temporary. The heavy, suffocating ache of an unlived life, that's forever. You are literally just choosing which pain you are willing to endure. So, to escape that endless paralysis of overthinking, you've got to follow these 3 steps. Stop overthinking, take imperfect action, and find clarity in motion. We waste years analyzing every single possible outcome, just waiting for perfect certainty. But here's the secret. Clarity is never found in your head. It is only revealed through the messy, brave act of moving forward. Action shrinks fear. You don't need all the traffic lights in your town to turn green before you back out of your driveway, right? You just need to take imperfect action. This naturally leads us to our final core concept, Section 6, building your legacy today. And it demands that you start doing exactly that, right this very second. When you trace the timeline of your life from today to the very end, you see that a legacy isn't built in a single day. It's not about grand, world-changing gestures or getting famous. It's built quietly, consistently, in the totally ordinary choices you make when absolutely no one is watching. It starts with just one small, intentional choice today. Then, that becomes repeated action tomorrow. Years later, you've built compounded momentum, which finally results in a lasting legacy. It's how you treat a stranger, how you show up for your family, the tiny habits you repeat daily. The whole shebang. Your legacy is simply the ripple effect of your everyday authenticity. And because your energy is just as finite as your time, you've got to ruthlessly audit it. Look at this energy investment breakdown. Dedicate 60% to growth and purpose, 30% to intentional rest, and 10% to deep connections. You must allocate your daily focus only to things that nourish your potential, leaving absolutely zero room for toxic drains. Not everyone deserves access to your peace, guys. Guarding your energy through a deliberate breakdown like this is the ultimate act of self-respect. The world doesn't need another person living halfway. Man, this quote from the final chapter just perfectly captures the urgency of this entire explainer. You do not get a rehearsal for this life. The world desperately needs your full potential. And the future you actually want, it demands that you sacrifice your comfort right now. You just can't hold on to the familiar shore if you want to discover new oceans.
I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought based on our source material today. What are you waiting for? The perfect moment is a complete myth. The timing is never going to be exactly right. So, are you going to keep waiting for an invitation that's never going to come? Or are you going to start living your actual life today? The choice is entirely yours. Make it count.